Hello, everybody. Thank you for listening. I'm back again. And since I am here, we're talking about the difficulty with depression and a couple other issues tonight. But I've discovered that my purpose in life is to create, learn, and have fun. That's that's my big purpose in life right now. And in each day, what I'm learning is that it's about healing, leading, and teaching. So that's why we're gonna talk about that today on this journey that we're on, and on my journey that I've been on. And so I hope that you get something out of what we talk about, and I hope that it helps you in some way, as it has helped me. Um, every day is different that we're here, and I deal with a lot of the same things that anybody else does. So I'm just glad to be doing this and sharing it with other people, and also understanding what it's making me deal with myself. So I wanted to just get into this now because the last podcast that I did, I kind of was done when I stopped because I just was at that point. So where I left off was, I think I was talking about that we did have a restaurant in Santa Rosa, California, and it was called Carpizzo's. So that is why it's called Carpizzo's Kitchen now. So most people may know that, and some, you might hear us talk about it. I'm sure Pete says it enough. But in this whirlwind, what I have to say is that Pete has been an unwavering anchor for me and a steadfast partner in navigating the storm, because it was a major, major storm. Because what happened is we moved to San Diego from Northern California. So we were in the midst of closing things down, right? And so we get to San Diego and we're there a few months, but we knew we had to talk to the attorney because we were having some things happen that we needed to talk about. Um, then we come to find out the attorney that we had an aneurysm and died right in the middle of when we're trying to figure out what's going on next, how we're going to deal with this. And so that's what I have to say about that. It was a very difficult time in both of our lives. And then to have your attorney die while you're going through this liquidation and all of this of assets and the weight of the accumulated debts that we had, we didn't know how it was going to be handled. Um, so eventually, it took several years to deal with it because we had to go through another court here in San Diego, because that's where it all ended up transferring to. But in the end, it all got dealt with, and you know, we survived that, and that was a lot of stress too. So, that was about the biggest stress I've ever been through, and it was a lot. And you know, so after that, we had so we stayed in San Diego for about 10 years, and it came time to leave there because we were deciding what we were going to do next and what I was going to do. And we decided at that point to move to Las Vegas. And start a few things over, and which we did. Um, but so and a lot of things didn't happen as we hoped. You know, Pete wasn't able to find a job right away, and all of those things, and it didn't all work. Like I said before, I think what I've said is that you know when you have all these grandiose plans, guess what? The universe has other plans for you. So don't get too stuck on the plans that you think you're going to have and do, because the universe has other plans for you. So, it was a bit of a struggle getting going here in Las Vegas, but eventually I did because I had a job when we came. He didn't, so he ended up retiring, and that was okay. Um, I was working and I was able to, do that. And so there came this time in September, about September 10th of 2000. Well, actually, it actually happened in about June or July. There was some things going on where I was going for a physical, and I was being told that, there were some things that were a little off and they weren't sure but a primary care physician found a lump somewhere doing an exam on me, and we had to check it out further. I had to get an MRI and get more conclusive diagnosis. But as it came about, the way it all happened, it felt like this time when they called around, I think it was around September 10th, when I did get the message, and coming from UCLA, and they found all the cores in me and all of the things. This was about, prostate cancer. And when they called and said, I had all these things and it was positive for this and that, and I was like, it was a devastating day for me, actually, very devastating. It felt like this 50-foot wave, like like a freaking tidal wave popped up and started crashing down on me, left me reeling and battered by the gravity of it all, because it just felt so big. So in these moments that I'm reflecting on, I'm also reminded of the resilience found in the face of adversity. Because you know what? What I found is that through the unwavering support of loved ones and the face of adversity, the strength that you draw from the unwavering support of your loved ones is what helps you get through the journey, and you need that. Um, and I know that it's a very difficult journey to walk alone. Um, at that point, it was like I said, it was like an ocean tidal wave hitting me like a ton of bricks, and I was just like, "What? How could this be?" I I eat well, I exercise, I take vitamins, I do all of these things, and like I said, the universe doesn't care. You've heard that commercial on TV. Shingles doesn't care. Shingles doesn't care, and they don't care. It doesn't care what you've done, and even if you've had the shot for it, does not necessarily mean it's going to prevent it. But if you do get it, it may be a little less painful. Because I used to have to give all those shots out all the time. I used to hear the commercial, Shingles doesn't care. Um, but so, despite all of that stuff that I knew, healing modalities, massage, Reiki, shamanic healing, you know, when you're in the middle of a storm or a stormy sea, what you need is what? You need a life preserver. You need something to hang on to to get through those big waves because they are hitting you and they are trying to smash you down. So all of these thoughts were swirling around me, on me, and I just felt like I felt an urgency to start writing, which I did. And I mean, I was writing every day about this stuff and also on the computer, sometimes till 2 and 3 in the morning every night. And so maybe 6 hours a day or more spending on the computer doing research on prostate cancer. What's the best thing to do? What's this? What's that? And it was devastating at times. But the gravity of the situation was it did hit me like a ton of bricks, and I felt like I was sinking. Um, and I also felt like, you know, number one, I need more knowledge here about this. Although, I was a nurse, I was taking care of men with prostate cancer and was seeing all different types of pathology with it. So I kind of knew what was going on and what to expect. But when it happens to you, it does hit you like a ton of bricks. So I just made the commitment to myself that I would just start writing despite the overwhelming nature of it all. And I didn't even, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't go to therapy at that point because I thought, well, I'll just deal with this. But guess what? I should have went to therapy because it would have helped a lot. I did actually, I think after I had the surgery, a few months later is when it really hit me. So regardless of what lays ahead for you, and knowing the realization of what was happening, I knew the journey was going to help me to articulate my circumstance and how I could figure out what to do next. And maybe as I'm doing it, can help other people. But then the other thing I thought about is, no, what you need is you need to have a meeting to go to. Because, what I learned is that you need to go to meetings to hear other people talk about what they're doing, how the doctor treated them, what was their diagnosis, how many nodules they had, or areas of cancer, and what was the treatment that was being considered to do. So what I found is that, not only did I have the surgery in 2018, but I found myself struggling with gaining weight, number one, from living here in Las Vegas because there were a lot more buffets before COVID. Um, so I maybe was eating some of the wrong stuff. I don't know. But after COVID, a lot of them closed. So for me, that was a blessing in disguise, really. But then the other piece of this was that navigating the complexities of UCLA and the medical needs that I needed at the time became a big challenge. And, you know, driving from Las Vegas to LA is a drag just in itself. Um, but the bureaucratic hurdles of managing um, the documents, obtaining test results, and making sure that you have all the right paperwork, that was stressful in itself. But what I did learn is I found a group called Us Two. At the time, it was called Us Two. It recently, in the past couple of years, changed to something called Zero, the End of Prostate Cancer. So it's a much bigger organization now with a lot more support groups in it. And one of the reasons that I wanted to go to that specific support group, because number one, there was nothing here in Las Vegas that I could go to. There just wasn't. Um, I wanted an LGBTQ meeting. um, for individuals, and particularly gay men, facing prostate cancer, and there was nothing. So I thought, well, I found this group, Us Two, and there was a lot of information there. So I kept digging there. And then I found out that um, they did offer a meeting like this, but then the moderator was doing it, and then one last time, or I caught the last time that he was doing it, because then he stopped doing the meetings. And I was like, no, I can't do that. I have to have a meeting. So I talked with the woman who was in charge, the director of that department, and told her, I want to be the moderator. I can be the moderator. I'm a nurse and I have a lot of background in some of these things, and I need a meeting, and I cannot go dealing with going all over the place, since I'm working and everything. I said I just need to be able to go to a meeting, once a week or once every other week or whatever, and show me what I can do, and I will do it. And, after a bit, they agreed, and I made a format for it. I did the whole thing. And here I'm going through it, but guess what? I needed it. And this was actually after, but I did go to some meetings before, and they did help, because I think the biggest thing that you can do for yourself, whether you're gay, whether you're LGBT, whether you're bi, whatever, non-LGBT, heterosexual, whatever, if you're a man, you have the same equipment. We need the same information. It might be used in different ways, but it's the same information. And really, there's not enough information for LGBT men. And I'm going to put a article in the description. Actually, I think it's a video. Might be a video or an article, but I have one of the professors at Minnesota University of Minnesota, um, Simon Rosser. He did a study called the Restore Study, and he was the first one to do a research study on gay men and sexuality and gay men after prostate cancer, having surgery or radiation or whatever. They even offered medication and help with rehabbing people. So, and I found that, I think, right maybe a month before I actually had the surgery, because I was looking for research um, things all over the United States, and I couldn't find anything. I came across this one day, and it just so happened that they were getting ready to start this in January, I think. So I'm like, that's going to be perfect timing for me, because I need to do something and learn more information about what I am getting into here. So I spent hours and hours, like I said, going over information. And so that's how I ended up finding out about that study, doing the other group, and I just started getting more involved. And come to know, I was moderating that class or that meeting for 5 years, and it just got for me to the point where I needed to stop it, because I felt like I needed other people to participate. Because if you're the only one doing something and nobody offers to help, um, it's like, I've always gone to different meetings, 12-step meetings, different things, and I've always given my time and done things for other people, and because I don't have a problem with that. And in fact, I like to do those things. And it gave me purpose, and it also gave me a lot more information than many doctors even have. So I was very lucky to find all of these different groups going on. and that this group was being run out of Minnesota. And that gave me a glimmer of hope because there was nothing like that here in Las Vegas, nothing like that. So it led me to many finds. And like I said, it brought me to moderating the us2 and then the zero. And having a group online was perfect. And as I started to do it, other people came aboard and were wanting to know this stuff, were, needing to know this stuff. So I met quite a few different people. I think I've met over the past 5 years, I want to say it's probably over 120 men, uh, gay men who had prostate cancer. And that's not all of them, because not all of them got to me or got through to the group or didn't know how to do it or whatever. Not everybody came on or got the chance to talk, but we tried to make time for everybody. Um, but again, like I said, when while I was still in the process of getting diagnosed, we went to LA so many times that we ended up burning up the car, the transmission in the car, which was not a good thing. So, and at this point, we don't have a car anymore. In some ways, I like it because we don't have like insurance and other stuff to pay for, but it does hamper like wanting to do stuff because we do Uber and stuff, but still, it's not the same. But like so that whole time as I'm getting diagnosed and going through it, I thought, you know what? If I get this surgery and like I want to see how this turns out because I was like, I kept thinking, I'm going to die. I'm going to be dead here within a year or two or whatever. So that's when I went and I ordered a tent, this big tent, and I started ordering all of these things, camping equipment and this and that. So we ended up going through all these different places and camp. This is while we still had the car. That's why we burnt up the car. But I can tell you right now, it's almost 6 years later after the cancer. And I did have, like I said, the reoccurrence happened in 2020. Not a good thing. It happened during COVID. Maybe it was a blessing. But I had to go through like 6 weeks of radiation and ADT. They call it hormone therapy, but they're not giving you hormones. They're taking your testosterone away. So it leaves you on a zero level. And that's another thing that can make you gain weight, made me depressed. I mean, I'm already had issues with depression. So this just threw me in a hole and I was just not good. And so it is important because one of the things that's really good about this here is that one of the best things, I guess, that Pete would say also that I'm still here in one piece, sort of, because I thought I was going to die 5 years ago. Um, but living can also take its toll on you. Going through this and still going through this because you don't really know. I have to keep going for blood tests every 3 months. Blood tests, different bone scans, um, and because I also have osteoporosis, it just puts everything up to another level so that you have to take other medication for that. And I just found out going through some more research on that recently that a lot of these different medications give you pain in your bones, pain in your muscles, and that's what I'm realizing. So I'm realizing I need to change some of those things now. But oh, well, you got to take it. You got to take it because you'll lose all your bone mass, and then all your bones will be breaking. well, guess what? Um, I've got to figure out something else because I can't go walking around in pain all the time. It also, and then I also did read about the insomnia part. I have that too, and depression. So not only do I have depression before this just brings it all up to another level, which I didn't even realize, to tell you the truth. Um, because, and I don't like to look at side effects because if I do, it makes it even worse. If there, I like to do stuff without looking at any of the side effects because if I see the side effects, I'm going to get them all. But if I don't see them, then whatever I get, I just deal with. But after reading this research and realizing how important it is to know all the other stuff that goes along with all these side effects for the different Prolia medication for your bones, Reclast, Boniva, all these different ones that mostly women take and men don't have to. But when you take this medication that takes all of your testosterone out of you, you have to take care of yourself in new ways. So that is why Heal, Lead, and Teach was created. And this has been going through my head for years, the Heal, Lead, Teach. I just didn't know what it was going to be. And this is how it's moving and turning into something different than originally I had it planned for. But so it's actually better than what I had in mind. So it's a channel about eating well, living well, taking care of ourselves in the face of cancer, depression, and death. Because you're faced with all of these things, your own mortality. And I think that's the biggest thing that I learned is that, you know, um, because the idea here is that most people, you know, don't want to die. Yeah, we don't want to die. But my thing is, I just don't want to be in a lot of pain because the pain to me wears on you in some ways more than the actual disease. So, and what I've learned is that because Pete, that I've been with for 25 years, um, he was already talented as a chef, as a cook, as a computer IT director. But he's always making these beautiful meals for me. And he was probably one of the reasons that got me better. Also, because eating good nutrition while you're going through cancer is extremely important. Um, so we don't always agree on everything, but what we do agree on is taking care of ourselves, doing what we need for our health, and sharing that information. And also, what I've realized is what I've come to realize because I can become very distracted by other things and different things in the moment. But what I've also realized now is that for me, the most important thing is to keep myself focused, figure out ways to keep myself focused. That is why I've done a lot of these videos on breathing, meditation, ASMR, which is the talking quietly and trying to get you to calm down because it really does help for sleep and lowering down because we're always on these computers using these screens and cameras, and that does not help us sometimes with sleep. But keeping focused on your breath and also lowering my expectations about everything. Because what I realize is that if I start up here and then what really happens is going to be down here, it's disappointing. That in itself can create depression. But so a lot of things come to me in a lot of different ways. I either get things in dreams, I get things in visions, I get actual creative thoughts while I'm thinking about stuff or doing a storming. So, yeah, um, And in the next video, um, I'm going to be talking about more specifically about what happened with the cancer, how I've dealt with it, and some more resources in there because I feel like that is another important part for me doing this is that I'm just trying to get information out there for people because I want people to know that there are ways to deal with this. Um, and everybody is going to need something different. We do not all want um, there's nothing ever the same about these. So it's important to get as much information as you can and make educated decisions based on what you know. And you can only do that at the time. And now, with the PSMA scans and all of the new technology that we have, we did not have that when um, when I was getting diagnosed. There's a lot better technology now, so you have a much better chance of maybe even averting um, the cancer altogether if they can figure out how to treat you. So that's all I have to say today. Like I said, I'm going to put a link in there for Simon Roster because I want that in there. Um, because he's a very good person to listen to. He's got tons of videos, and at the University of Minnesota there, he's the human sexuality developer of human sexuality and created all kinds of programs around sexuality and the LGBT community and just in general. So I'm glad that, I could get this done, and there'll just be one more video after this. You'll only have to hear me one more time. So I hope that you've gotten something out of this. I know that I tend to go on, but that's what this is. It's about, because this is real, it's real stuff, and I'm still dealing with it. And there are still many, many new people coming out every week with cancer. Gay men, straight men, doesn't matter. And some of them are very young. You know, I found out when I was, I think I was 62, 63, I don't know. But, so it's been a few years for me. But some of the men are getting cancer at 42, 45, 48, much, much younger. So they also have to figure out what's going on and why aren't people staying healthy longer, especially men. So, and the women. I mean, we're all, victims of these cancers if we can't figure out what is causing them and how to either eat better, make sure we do have the right nutrition on board so when our immunity can kick in, it'll help us. And it's still a big part of it. So, anyway, thank you all for listening. And I'm not even sure how long this is. I might have to cut this in half. But I really do appreciate it and glad that I could be doing this for you. So, this is Ann out.